DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Sales topic for everybody out there. Any of you who sells anything. I don't care if you don't have to be an entrepreneur, but if you are, this is especially for you. But if you are a salesperson, you can work at Nordstrom selling perfume, whatever, Foot Locker selling sneakers. The concept is you are not your customer. And the first person I heard talk about this was a member of my Bulletproof Mastermind. This woman named Charlene. She's a serial entrepreneur. And the conversation that was being had when this point got made was one of the members of our mastermind was just talking about something that he is selling. And his challenge was selling it for X price. And his challenge was he didn't feel like, or his emotion was telling him, his feelings was telling him, not his logic, but actually a little bit of logic and a little bit of emotion was telling him that people would not pay X price for what he was selling. He was selling it for a certain price, and we're like, is that really what you want to sell it for? Do you want to sell it for more? He was like, yeah, well, ideally, I would sell it for 10 times what I'm selling this thing for. However, he was selling like speaking, workshops, things like that. What is this person doing? This dude just slowed down in the green light, but anyway. He's selling speaking, workshops, coaching, things like that. He's like, well, ideally, I'd like to sell it for 10 times what the price that I'm charging right now, but why would anybody want to pay that much money for a thing? And Charlene piped up and said to him, well, listen, what she said is you are not your avatar. If those of you who are not in sales or not in entrepreneurship, you might not know what an avatar is. It's simply your ideal customer. Your avatar is just look at all the customers you have. Who's your ideal customer? Like your best possible customer. If you could only sell to one type of person for the rest of your life, who would that person be? It is your customer, but your best customer. We call that the avatar. So it's the same thing. You are not your customer. And she said that to him. And it's an idea that we all need to embrace and understand, because when you think that your customer is the same as you, and then you end up doing things that are mistakes, such as prescribing your thinking to the thinking of your customer, then what you end up doing is slowing yourself down, holding yourself back, self-sabotaging, and you actually hurt your business. To give you an example, there's a trainer who's in my mastermind, and we were actually just yesterday, from when I'm recording this, we put her on the hot seat in the mastermind, basically working on giving her a plan for her business, just trying to figure out what she's doing and how she's doing it. And she's talking about, she has this family that she's training right now, and she just wants to make more money from her training. Like, this is one of the main challenges entrepreneurs have. I want to make more money. All right, who doesn't want to make more money? So she's charging a certain price right now for her services that is a too low price. The price she's charging right now is comical. It makes no sense. She's a trainer. She has like decades of experience in the training industry. She has certifications, degrees, all of this stuff, but she's charging a price that's so low. It's like this. Look, I'm not even a trainer. I'm not a personal trainer. I don't have certifications. I did not study kinesiology in college. If I became a personal trainer right now, I would charge at least 3 times what she's charging, and she's been in the industry for decades and is charging this price that makes no sense whatsoever. So her price does need to go up, and she does need to make more money because her price is ridiculous. Anyway, as we're talking, I start asking other people on the call, because we're on Zoom, asking other people on the conference call, what would you expect to pay this person based on her background, based on her experience, based on what you know about what she's done? How much do you think she would be charging? Even if you know nothing about the industry, how much do you think she'd be charging? People are throwing out numbers saying this much, this much, this much, and they're all multiples of what she's actually charging right now, right? And here's what she said. The actual woman whose prices we're trying to raise. She said, well, X, because people threw out a number. She was like, well, this is a lot of money. Nobody would want to pay that much money just for an hour-long training session, right? That wouldn't make sense, would it? And I said to her, interrupted her and caught her in the middle of her saying that. And I'm like, do you hear what you're saying right now? First of all, you're negotiating against yourself. And secondly, you're doing the very thing that I'm explaining to y'all here in this conversation. You are not your customer. Meaning, what you would buy or would not buy has no bearing on what your customer would buy and what they would not buy. Just because you would not spend let's say $500 on a pair of shoes does not mean somebody won't walk into the Nordstrom that you work in the shoe department, and they won't spend $500 on 6 different pairs of shoes, $3,000 total. They will, even though you wouldn't, they would. And it's not your business what they would do. And so one of the most important things for any of you as a salesperson is to understand your mindset around how you would spend your money has nothing to do with how your customers spend theirs. Your job is not to think for your customer unless you are helping prescribe for them to do something that's going to help them. But don't take your thinking and project it onto them and think, okay, well, I wouldn't spend this much on this, so I'm not even going to try to sell it because nobody else will spend that much either. All right, that is a losing formula. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and eventually it's going to put you out of business, or it's going to put your employer out of business. And if your employer knows what they're doing, they're going to notice that you're the problem. They're going to fire you. So actually, they're not going to go out of business. You're going to be out of business because you're going to get fired. Your mindset as an entrepreneur is to figure out, what does your customer want? How does your customer value the things that you're selling, your goods and services, whatever you're selling? How do they value it? And then you sell them what they want at the price that is commensurate with the value that they see, not the value that you see. So just because you're cheap when it comes to a certain thing doesn't mean the rest of the world is cheap when it comes to that thing. And the worst thing you can do for your business is think that how you think is how they think. Because all of your limiting beliefs around money, if you have any, and a lot of people have them, most of us have them, all your limiting beliefs around money, you're going to project onto your customers. And the problem with that is you're going to turn away customers, you're going to turn away business, and you're going to be underselling yourself. So you got a product or a service that you could sell for $100 to keep the math simple, but you're only selling it for $10. Not because there are people who won't pay $100. There are people who will pay you $100. And when you only charge them 10, one of two things is going to happen. Either A, they're going to realize they're getting a steal and they're only going to pay you $10. So they're only paying 10% of what they would pay. And here you are with only $10 when you're actually selling something that's worth $100. So now you're the one who feels like shit because you don't have any money. Or B, they're going to say, all right, this person clearly is garbage because I'm looking for something that costs $100. They're only selling it for 10. So whatever they're selling is either crap or they're crap. Either way, I don't want to be involved, and they're going to move on and go buy from somebody else because your price is too low. Yes, you heard me. Your price is too low. So some of you who are listening to me right now, you're thinking to yourself, well, no, I might not be able to sell something, or somebody might not buy from me, or you wouldn't buy something because the price is too high. You never even heard of anybody saying your price is too low. Well, understand something. When you start dealing with people who have more money to spend than maybe what you're used to either asking for or spending yourself, this is a real thing. That when your price is too low, people will undervalue you, or they will assume that you don't know what you're doing, or they will assume that you're just an amateur, or they'll assume that just you don't even have any real value to offer, which is why your price is so low, and they won't buy from you. Not because the thing that you're offering doesn't look good on paper, but simply because if I'm walking into let's say I went to buy a car, right? I want to go buy what's an expensive car? I want to go buy a Rolls Royce, and I'm expecting that I'm gonna spend at least $150,000 on the car. Then I get to the Rolls Royce, an authorized Rolls Royce dealer, and they say, well, Dre, I got this brand new Rolls Royce, 2022. It just came out. We just got them in today, and we're selling them for $30,000. Now, what are you going to do? What do you think I would do? $30,000 for that Rolls Royce. Even though I'm expecting to spend $150,000. I Googled it. I'm looking up. I talked to 2 of my friends who have them. They spent $200,000 on theirs. They said, Dre, you can get an entry level one for $150,000. So I budgeted $150,000 at least. Now they tell me I can get it for $30,000. What are you going to think if somebody offers you a Rolls Royce for $30,000? You expect to spend $150,000. You're probably going to think A, is probably a scam, or B, is not even a Rolls Royce. It might be a fucking Toyota. They just put a Rolls Royce logo on it and called it a Rolls Royce. But that's how we think, right? When someone's offering, you're expecting to spend X, but somebody offers you to spend 10% of X on that thing that you have a pretty solid idea of what it costs. This is what people do to you when you undervalue your own stuff. So not only do you sell your stuff for less than what you should be selling it for, and now you're bitter and frustrated because you're not making the kind of money you should be making even though you're doing the work. B, you lose customers because these people will never buy from you because they think you ain't shit, because your price is so low. So the idea here that I want you to ingrain in your mind is you are not your customer. You are not your avatar. What you would do has no bearing on what they would do. And do not project your mindset onto other people, because it can and will, and probably is, if you've been doing this already, costing you money. All that said, you want to join my Bulletproof Mastermind, because there we talk about this stuff every single week. We do live trainings on these topics to help you get your mind right around your strategy, around your money, around business, around your mindset as well. Not only how it applies to work, but also how it applies to life. And it's not just hearing from me, but you actually will get other ideas bounced off you from other members of the mastermind. We have entrepreneurs from all over the world. This is an international mastermind. We got entrepreneurs from all different areas, people in finance, serial entrepreneurs, people in fitness, people in thought leadership, people who work in tech, people who have multiple businesses running at the same time. We got all different kinds of entrepreneurs in there. You can join the mastermind by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Or if you prefer to work with me one-on-one, you can do that as well. That's my 3rd day mastermind. It's one-on-one coaching. And you can see both options and see what you can do at workonyourgameuniversity.com is the link for either one. And to get my daily motivation text message, that's for everybody, all you got to do is text me at my number, which is linked down below. The number is 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre all day.